Yes guys, welcome back to another video where today we will hopefully be starting the Seat Leon with its brand new engine. Right, so here it is. So this car has just undergone a engine swap, a new clutch, a new flywheel, a new cam belt, and a new turbo, or a different turbo. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'm going to see if it'll start, and then we'll explain exactly what's happened to the car in a minute. This is the first time starting... Can this focus, please? So this is going to be starting the car for the very first time since the engine swap. Now, it has to be said, the battery might be flat, so let's just give it a go and see what happens. Now boys, I'm not being funny, but that sounds so good. New engine, and by new, pre-owned, but we'll get into that as well. So boys, as you can hear, the car's running. Now, I'm not even joking, it got trailered here. This is the first time I've turned it on since the engine has been put in. So obviously it should turn on, but you still don't know. Also, the battery is very much dead, and there's damage to the wrap, but we'll get into that. Not the garage's fault, sort of neglect, but let's go. Right guys, here we go. The first drive of the car. Now, has to be said, I haven't actually driven it the same day I started filming this episode, and that's because I ran out of time. So, I am filming this the next day, but it is still the first drive, so it still counts. But, as we can see, we are currently driving down the road in my recently engine swapped Seat Leon. Come on! So, it works, listen. Hopefully those sounds are coming across on camera, because in real life, they sound outrageous. I don't know if this is coming across on camera. I've got all the windows open, so I do apologise if the road noise is quite loud, but this feels lovely, boys. This feels lovely. Although, I am noticing a bit of a restriction around 3,000, sort of 2,700 RPM. Yeah. Odd. Might have to look into that. Anyway, let me park up and we'll go through all of the changes. So, what has changed to my Seat Leon? Obviously, the engine, but we'll get into that in a second. Let me just shut this door. Actually, let's crack the bonnet open. Here is the new engine. Now, the first question you might ask yourself, what engine did I put in it? Did I upgrade the engine? Did I go for a 3-litre engine? Did I go for a GTI engine or like a Seat Leon Cupra engine? No, I went for the exact same engine that it already had. But that meant there was nothing confusing to happen. It meant everything just plugged and played. Lovely. However, there were some complications. First of all, one of the first complications was the manifold. Now, I bought my car off a crash damaged Octavia VRS, and apparently the Octavia, hold on, the sunlight is absolutely violating me. The Octavia VRS doesn't have a butterfly valve. It is the exact same 170 BMN engine. I think it's BMN, BNM, BMN, whichever way that is. I'm being slightly dyslexic. BNM, I think, 170 PD engine. They have the exact same engine as my car, except the manifold is different. They do not have butterfly valves in the manifold. So we had to swap the manifold from my engine, the blue one, onto the new engine, which is obviously in the car currently. But I don't know why I'm at the back of the car filming this clip, but the next complication was my clutch. So, unfortunately, when taking the engine out the car, obviously you have to remove the clutch, remove the gearbox, etc. We noticed that the bolts that hold on the clutch, because I had an uprated, same thing, clutch, it had sheared some of the bolts just from the sheer torque it was making, and then the bolts had embedded themselves into the clutch. There was actually still plenty of clutch left, like there was plenty of pad, but yeah, there was just chunks of bolt in the clutch, which was terrifying. But also a shame, because it was just a clutch that had to be replaced and now it's dead. However, the other thing we did do while the engine was out, which just made perfect sense, was changing the cam belt. Now obviously normally if you bought a cam belt it might be 150, 200 pounds, or I think it's about 150 pounds roughly with all the belts, etc. And then to go get it fitted, it's about 2 hours labour. Now, because the engine was out, the job took literally 10 minutes to swap the cam belt over, which seemed like a no-brainer to do while the engine was out. So the cam belt has been changed, clutch and flywheel has been changed, the manifold has been changed, the turbo has been changed. Now, that is an unfortunately slightly sticky one because I had a hybrid turbo, and now I've gone to a standard 170 turbo, which might be the cause of some hiccups it's now having, but yeah, again, we'll talk about that in a minute. So what that has meant is I've technically downgraded the turbo, but my turbo was on about, well, the turbo itself was on 200,000, but obviously because I had the hybrid internals changed, it was slightly less than that, maybe 100,000. So it just seemed to get an overall slightly newer turbo than one that had been hybrided, if you see what I'm saying. But yeah, so I stuck with the original turbo that came with the car, which is still a Garrett turbo. It's the standard Garrett 170 turbo. It just doesn't have the uprated internals that mine had. As you can see, I've still kept my ram air induction kit, which still sounds amazing. Boys, I just filmed that clip obviously for you, but I've now got to turn this on and then back off because I just heard the flutter valve I just heard from that turbo was disgusting behaviour. So listen to this. So I'm just going to give it another little rev. Now listen to this turbo flutter as I turn off the engine. Oh, now that is a beautiful noise. And I believe that is just a ram air induction kit. That is just the turbo fluttering down. All right, I get it still primed. Apologies. Let me hold on. Fuel pumps are just still primed. So yes, the engine is in. We have a new 170 engine. However, I am having some slight issues with it. For some reason, around 2,700 RPM, it seems to not want to like breathe properly. It's almost like the turbo valves get shut, or maybe the butterfly valves in the manifold are getting shut, and I just lose a bit of boost. So that's weird. From like 1,700 to 2.5, it's like screaming, like it's pulling so strong. And then yeah, you get to about 2.7 and it's like it just can't breathe anymore. It's almost like a intercooler pipe is closing and it's like suffocating, but it's not that because it's not billowing out of black smoke. So I don't know what it is, but it's like, yeah, the turbo valve is getting shut, or maybe the manifold flutter valves are getting shut. I haven't had it tuned since the engine, but technically because it's the same engine, slightly different turbo, same injectors, etc., it should run the same, but I don't know. So put it in the comments if it's something obvious that I should be doing. But yes, the engine is in, the car is running, it is alive. I will quickly address some sad parts about the car since it's been off the road for almost 7 months. So what we're going to do is we're going to shut the bonnet. I need to answer, give me a second. So we will start with the front of the car. The saddest part is this. The wrap has been oh, my towing eye's actually not in. There we go, that's weird. The wrap has been damaged. As you can see, if I get up close, it's actually worse because it's all under it. Towing eye, listen to me. Yeah, so I got a little stone chip. Like you see like these little stone chips. I don't know if you can see them on camera. It was just one of these little stone chips, which it is covered in now. It's done a lot of mileage. And it's just progressed to that monstrosity, which is very sad. So yeah, obviously stone chips are expected. You can see them in the wrap. You know, I'm not trying to pretend like this is a show car anymore, unfortunately. It has stone chips for days. But I've done probably maybe 40, 50,000 miles. So yeah, it's more than done its duty, but that's happened, and you might be able to start to see it's happening again on the bonnet there, and unfortunately there. So the wrap has seen better days now. It is what it is. The front of the car gets the worst of it. If you come to the side, the wing, it's got a little dot here. Now what's happened there is when it was sat not moving, there was obviously a little tiny stone chip. Dirt has then got under the wrap and then settled, which is very unfortunate. Yet again, most of the side of the car is absolutely fine. There's some little tiny stone chips here and there. The mirror, that was actually a crow, absolutely just attacked my mirror, so screw you. And then yet again, a little stone chip has got here. It's actually bloody damaged the door, but then it's also taken a bit of the wrap away. Shout out my Stanley Valeting, that is actually my mobile valeting business. But anyway, coming to the back of the car, the 3M wrap over the Tech 180 wrap, or Tech 190 wrap, is held up a lot better. The only damage to the free MRAP is there's a slight, as you can see, split all the way down here, but yet again you would never notice that, but it's only a little bit. It's not in the middle and then it's all the way over there again. It lifted in this corner here, you can see that it lifted there. I think that is it. There's tiny little lift there. I'm not going to complain about that, but other than that, the free MRAP literally faultless. But yet again, it's at the back of the car, which doesn't get any of the damage. The front of the car gets all the damage. Again, unfortunately, sat not moving, there's like brown marks all the way up where the seam line is for the roof, and that is just where dirt has got under the wrap while it's been sat and then just damaged it, unfortunately. But because it was sat for so long, I did clean it, but it's just dust that it ingrained into the wrap. It's just, unfortunately, it is what it is. But the wrap is 4 years old now, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to complain. All really I'd have to do is rewrap the front bumper and the bonnet, and that's it really. You could get away with the rest of it, you wouldn't really notice it, but the front of the car is very damaged, unfortunately. But yet again, if you stand, you know, back here, other than the spot, as I call it, you wouldn't notice it. Like, for example, if I stand over here, car looks absolutely faultless. Look at that, looks beautiful. But actually, unfortunately, it's covered in stone chips, but that just is what it is. But yes, guys, the engine is in, it is swapped, it is the same 170 PD BMN or BNM engine as the previous one. It runs lovely-ish, and I hope you've enjoyed, guys. Something I just realised I didn't address is why I actually had to change the engine in the first place. I took it to the garage. Let me turn the car off. I took it to the garage, and after a lot of testing and looking through the car, they compression test my old engine, and I think the first cylinder come up with 220 pressure, the second cylinder come up with about 210, and then the third cylinder was 160. So basically I had a dead third cylinder, which also, when it was running, sounded like it had like unequal headers. It was like whoa, 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 whoa. Like it ran poorly, basically. But that's why I had to swap the engine, because I either had to have the whole thing like skimmed, new cylinder heads, etc., or just buy a new engine and fit it, and they're about the same costing in the end. But if you want a breakdown of how much it cost and how much everything costs to do, I'll do that in another video if you put it in the comments. But yes, guys, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.